Hello and welcome to my video on how to find your biological father with DNA part 3. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to analyse ancestry.co.uk or .com family trees of your matches to further your search for your biological father. In part 1 we covered off what tests to take, what DNA tests to take and why. That included ancestry.com as well as family tree DNA. As well as lots of background information and sort of supplementary information to help you. In part 2 we covered off how to analyse your ancestry.com or .co.uk matches in more detail, and in this video we're going to look at how to analyse family trees. So if you haven't watched part 1 or 2, please go back and watch them if you think they'd be useful. I certainly think they will, and please make sure to like and subscribe. This video series is dedicated to helping people to find your biological father with DNA. Let's jump into the video. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go over and log into the ancestry.co.uk or .com website. And once you've logged in, you're going to want to click on the DNA section of the menu up here. And this is going to give you the View All DNA Matches button. So you want to click the View All DNA Matches. And it's going to bring up a list of all of your ancestry.co.uk or .com matches. So you can see here the little hyperlinks where it's green. These are people's trees, and the number represents how many people are in each person's tree. So this is my mother's account. You can see up here KW is my mother, and this is me. So that her top match is me, and I have 248 people in my tree. Now what the green means with the number here is actually means it's a public tree, and that means you can view limited information about the tree. So you can effectively view pedigree style information, and we'll look at that in a second. But you can see here somebody has an unlinked tree. This unlinked tree basically means they have a private tree which isn't public. So in order to access a private tree, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to click on the match, and then you're going to need to contact them. So you can use the messaging facility up there and contact the match to ask them to grant you access to their tree. And we'll also in a minute we'll look at how to grant the access as well, because some people will say, well, I don't know how to do that, and I'll show you just quickly how people can grant you access to their tree too. Another type of match to look out for is a no tree match. So you can see here Ian Fernie, fourth to sixth cousin, is a no tree match. Now fourth cousins, I wouldn't actually be looking at those to analyze trees. Really what you want to be looking at is first, second and third cousin matches. So really your matches at the top, whoever your top match is, you want to be analyzing their tree. If they don't have a tree, then for sure you want to be messaging them, and you want to be asking them if you could perhaps help them build a tree, or maybe they have a tree in paper format. I've had matches that have trees on paper but not on Ancestry, and they've been kind enough to send me those trees. So if your match doesn't have a tree on Ancestry, definitely reach out to them and ask them if they've got a tree, or can you help them to build a tree, because that's going to be crucial to your search. And the same for unlinked trees. So if one of your top matches has a private tree, you definitely want to message them and ask them for access to it as well. So let's now just give you a quick view of the type of tree that you see when you click on one of the links. So you can see this is the one of my matches, Colin Simpson. He had 166 people in his tree, and you get this pedigree view, which is okay, but to be quite honest with you, it doesn't give you a lot of information to go off. Now this person's tree will actually be much bigger than this. There'll be lots more branches, up and down. But if you click on the View Full Tree button, what you'll see an Ancestry limitation, and that's that. In order to see somebody's full tree, you need to become a member. Now, the quickest and easiest way to see somebody's full tree, if it's public, is to just pay the monthly fee, right? $10.99 per month. Not too bad. Quick and easy. Become a member and you can see somebody's full tree. If you don't want to pay to see somebody's full tree and it is a public tree, what you can do is you can message them, like I said previously, and you can ask them to grant you direct access to their tree. And that means when you click on the View Full Tree button, it'll actually take you to their full tree, and you've got lots of options in there that are going to help you. So let's quickly look at how somebody grants you access to their tree, so that you can show people this video, or you can walk them through how to grant you access to their tree. So this is my account now. I've got this on a different browser. You can see I'm logged in here as Daniel Cassidy. So what they're going to need to do in order to grant you access to their tree is they're going to need to click on the trees part of the menu up here, and they're going to have to click on create and manage trees. Once they've done that, you'll see that they've got an option over here for managing a tree. So if they've got multiple trees, they'll obviously need to click the tree that you want to have a look at, because they might have a tree for their wife or something that might not be related to you on here as well. Some people can have 10 trees, 5 trees, 10 trees. So once they're in the manage trees section, you can see this is the basic information about the tree. The privacy settings is quite interesting. This is how people set their trees to public and private. So if somebody's got a private tree and they're like, oh, I don't know how my tree was private, and they're quite happy to make it a public tree, so you can look at it, then they can just tick the option here to make it a public tree. And obviously they'll need to save the changes as well with the orange Save Changes button. Now if we have a look at the sharing section, this is the bit they're going to need to go to for you, and you can see these are all of the people that have got access to my tree. Now if they're going to invite you, what they need to do is they need to click the invite people button, and probably email, I would say, is easier. Now, if you give them your email address, they can invite you via email. I would definitely recommend that. I think that's a lot easier, because usernames, I find sometimes the usernames actually get a bit stuck. I've invited people via username and it hasn't worked, and they haven't actually got the invite. So yeah, I would say stick to email. They're going to want to invite you. They probably want to put you as a guest, because that means you can't edit their tree, which is obviously quite important because it's effectively view-only access. Chuck your email address in there, and just press the send invites button, and that'll pop off and invite you. Now, one thing that's really important is that you ask them to click the Can See Living People button. Now, if they don't tick this button, basically what it means is you'll only be able to see dead people in their tree, which isn't actually that useful because your biological father is probably alive. So if your biological father's in their tree, then you wouldn't be able to see him, and you also can't get a true grip or a true view of who their relatives are, and that's going to be important for the next stage of your search, because you're going to need to start reaching out to some of these people, and asking them to help you with your search. So yeah, definitely ask them to tick the Can See Living People option for you. So if we go back now to my mother's profile, we're going to have a quick look at the tree, and I'm going to show you actually how you can do your analysis. So if I go back to my matches, once you've got access to somebody's full tree, so either you've subscribed as a member or they've granted you direct access, when you click on the tree link for that match, and you press the View Full Tree button, it's going to take you into the full tree, and it's first of all it's going to give you this pedigree view. Personally, I don't like the pedigree view. I don't find it very helpful, so I'm going to click on the family tree view here button, and that's just going to give me, I think personally, a nicer view. It gives you all of the people, and easier in my opinion to navigate. So you can see here that all of the living people in this tree are private. I've chosen to do that because I want to protect the identity of my relatives, and there are such things like identity theft, identity fraud, all that kind of stuff. So bear in mind that if you do have your own tree, people, if it's a public tree, people can't actually see the information of living people, but for your search, it's very important that you can see living people. So yeah, definitely contact your matches and ask to see the living people as well. So once you've got the tree open, effectively what you're going to want to do is you're going to look for big branches that you can analyze, right? So let's say, for example, one of your top matches is a second cousin match, and they've got a family tree, and you've got access to that tree, or you've become a member and you're having a look at their public tree. What you're going to want to do is look for big branches. So let's say this is your match that you're looking at. if you wanted to further your search, the first and most important thing to do is to see if their parents are alive. If their parents are alive, it would be really, really useful if one of their parents did a DNA test as well, an Ancestry.com DNA test. So you need to use your influencing skills and negotiation skills to get one of their parents to try and do a test. And the reason that that's going to be really helpful for you is because if, let's say, for example, your match's father did a test and you didn't match him on Ancestry, because he would come up as one of your shared matches, right? Now, if he did a test and he didn't match you, then that would mean that you're related to your match on his mother's side of the family. And that means that you can effectively rule out all of these people, okay? So you don't have to worry about any of these guys. You don't have to reach out to them. Or anything, and you can just focus on the mother side of the family. I would say if you do ask somebody to do a test, it's very good etiquette to offer to pay for the test for them. People aren't going to be willing to fork out, 50 quid or 70 quid to help you. So yeah, really consider offering to pay for the test for them, and it's really going to help you if they do the test. I personally paid for 3 or 4 tests for matches of mine or relatives of matches of mine to do tests, and that was critical for me to find my biological father. So yes, and if we have a look now, let's say for example I've got the father of my match to do a test. I don't match him, so I know I'm on his mother's side of the family. You can see here that you've got potentially 3 different branches which you might match closer. So if this match is a second cousin match, you want to get to a first cousin match or a close relative match, which might be an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent. So let's say, for example, I would actually want to go for this branch here. Okay, so I can see this is the biggest branch. This relative here has 4 siblings, all males, probably 2 marriages and 2 siblings from each, 2 children from each marriage. So yeah, I would absolutely be asking for details of these guys. I would say, look, to my match, do you know any of the people in this branch of the family? Would any of them perhaps be willing to do a test? Could you share an email address or a telephone number of one of the matches, and then reach out to one of those family members and ask them if they're willing to do a test. Offer to pay for the test. This is actually how I cracked my biological father case. So I got a big branch to do a test. It was one person in the branch. That branch came back as a close relative, and actually turned out to be a great auntie match for me, and she was able to help me to find my biological father. So using this method got me closer, and then through speaking to my closer match, once she had done the test, I was able to find my biological father. So absolutely recommend you do that. Now, let's say, for example, you got somebody to test in this branch and it didn't come back as a closer match, so it came back as a same level match. So let's say it comes back a second cousin match again. Then actually that you're not getting closer. So this branch probably isn't relative to you, and you might want to go for one of the smaller branches. So you might want to go for this branch first, and then if that comes back again as a second cousin match, then go for this branch. And effectively, what you're going to need to do at this point is process of elimination. So analysing if another test gets you closer or further away, and then analysing the tree of your match to effectively get to the point where you can identify your biological father. So that's it, really. I guess the main points for me are: make sure you're doing tree analysis for your top matches. You don't want to be worrying about the matches that are lower down, like the fourth cousin plus matches, because that's probably too far away, and you don't want to be paying for like 20-30 tests. Other key points are, make sure you get full access to the tree, so to see living people, and offer to pay for tests for the people that you want to do extra tests for. I haven't shown you all of the features of Ancestry.com family trees. There's lots of other features. I'm just showing you the features that I found most useful, and hopefully you guys will find these useful as well. So please like and subscribe if you found this useful. I will be doing more videos on how to find your biological father. I haven't decided what I'm going to do for the next video, but it might be something like GEDmatch, getting your DNA into GEDmatch and analyzing within GEDmatch, which you can do for free, or maybe something else. See how I feel. So yeah, if you like the video, like and subscribe, and thank you very much. Cheers.